From the fertile soil of ancient farmlands to the towering skyscrapers of modern cities, the rise of civilization set us on a path of progress and innovation that continues to shape our world today. So let's take a journey through time and explore the fascinating stories of our human ancestors and how they built the foundations of our modern civilization. The rise of civilization is a term that refers to the period in human history when humans transitioned from small, nomadic groups of hunter-gatherers to larger, more complex societies based around agriculture and settled communities. This period of human history is typically associated with the development of cities, writing, and other forms of advanced social organization. The transition from hunter-gatherer societies to more complex civilizations is a gradual process that occurred over thousands of years, but it is generally accepted to have begun around 10,000 BCE in what is now known as the Fertile Crescent, an area that includes modern-day Iraq, Syria, and parts of Turkey. Here, humans began to domesticate plants and animals, allowing them to settle down in one place and form more complex societies. As agriculture developed, people began to specialize in different trades, such as pottery making, weaving, and metalworking. This led to the development of trade networks and the growth of cities, which became centers of political power and cultural innovation. Writing systems also developed during this time, allowing for the recording and sharing of knowledge across long distances. The rise of civilization also brought about new forms of government, such as monarchies and city-states, and the emergence of empires that spanned vast territories. The first known empire was the Akkadian Empire in Mesopotamia, which emerged around 2300 BCE and was followed by other great empires such as the Babylonian, Egyptian, and Persian empires. The rise of civilization also had a profound impact on the environment as human societies began to alter the landscape through farming, mining, and deforestation. This led to the degradation of ecosystems and the extinction of many plant and animal species. Today, the legacy of the rise of civilization can be seen in the modern world, with many of the social, political, and cultural institutions that we take for granted having their roots in the ancient civilizations of the past. The cultures that emerged during the rise of civilization period were incredibly diverse and varied depending on geography, resources, and historical circumstances. However, there were some general trends and commonalities that we can observe across different cultures. One of the key advancements during this time was the development of agriculture. As mentioned earlier, the ability to cultivate crops and raise animals allowed humans to settle down in one place and form more complex societies. This also led to a surplus of food, which could be traded and used to support other specialized trades and professions. In addition to agriculture, many ancient cultures during this period made advancements in architecture and engineering. The ancient Egyptians, for example, built massive pyramids and other monumental structures using advanced techniques such as quarrying, stone cutting, and mortise and tenon joints. The ancient Greeks, on the other hand, developed the principles of geometry and used them to create elegant and sophisticated buildings such as the Parthenon. Another important aspect of culture during this time was religion and mythology. Many ancient civilizations had complex and multifaceted belief systems that were tied to the natural world and the cycles of life and death. These religions often featured complex pantheons of gods and goddesses and were intimately tied to everyday life and social organization. Trade and commerce were also important drivers of cultural advancement during this period. As societies grew more complex and specialized, they began to develop trade networks that linked them to other regions and allowed them to acquire new goods and ideas. This led to the spread of new technologies, such as metalworking, pottery, and textiles, as well as the exchange of artistic styles and cultural traditions. The rise of civilization also saw the development of new forms of government and political organization. Many ancient societies were ruled by monarchs or other types of leaders who had absolute power over their subjects. However, some cultures also experimented with more democratic forms of government, such as the city-states of ancient Greece. The cultures of this period were incredibly diverse and complex, and were shaped by a wide range of factors including geography, technology, trade, and religion. However, they shared a common goal of creating more advanced and sophisticated societies, and in doing so, laid the groundwork for the modern world as we know it today. It is important to note that life during this period would have been vastly different depending on where one lived and what one's social status was. However, there are some general trends and characteristics that we can observe across different cultures. One of the most significant changes during this period was the shift from a nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a settled, agricultural lifestyle. This allowed for the development of permanent communities and the growth of cities, which in turn led to the emergence of new forms of social organization and political power. For many people, this would have meant a more stable and predictable way of life, with access to a reliable food supply and the ability to build permanent homes and structures. However, life during this time was also marked by a great deal of hard work and uncertainty. Agriculture required a significant amount of labor, and many people would have worked long hours in the fields tending to crops and caring for animals. In addition, life was often subject to the whims of nature, with droughts, floods, and other environmental factors having the potential to devastate crops and cause food shortages. Social organization during this time was also highly stratified, with a small elite class of rulers and aristocrats holding most of the power and wealth, and the vast majority of people living in poverty and relative obscurity. Slavery was also common in many ancient societies, with captive individuals often being forced to work on farms or in mines. Religion and mythology played a central role in the lives of many people during this time. Beliefs about the supernatural and the afterlife were intertwined with everyday life, and many rituals and ceremonies were performed to honor the gods and ensure good fortune. Religion also often served as a means of social control, with rulers and elites using religious symbols and institutions to legitimize their power and authority. In terms of culture and artistic expression, this period was marked by a great deal of diversity and creativity. Many ancient cultures developed distinctive artistic styles, such as the intricate pottery of the ancient Greeks or the colorful textiles of the ancient Andean civilizations. Music, dance, and storytelling were also important aspects of cultural expression, and many ancient societies developed sophisticated forms of music and dance that are still practiced today. Ife during this period was marked by a great deal of change, uncertainty, and complexity. However, it was also a time of great creativity and innovation, as people developed new technologies, social structures, and artistic forms that laid the groundwork for the modern world as we know it today. Rise of civilization laid the foundation for many of the social, cultural, and technological developments that we see in modern society today. Here are some examples. 1. Agriculture. The development of agriculture during this period allowed for the growth of permanent settlements and the rise of complex societies. Today, agriculture remains a crucial part of the global economy, with farming practices and technologies continuing to evolve and improve. 2. Writing and record keeping. Many ancient civilizations during this period developed systems of writing and record keeping, which allowed them to document important information and communicate more effectively. This laid the foundation for the development of modern writing systems and the written record keeping that is crucial to many aspects of modern life. 3. Art and architecture. The art and architecture of ancient civilizations during this period continue to influence modern artistic styles and architectural design. For example, the ancient Greeks' emphasis on symmetry, proportion, and balance is still evident in many modern buildings and design projects. 4. Science and mathematics. Many ancient civilizations during this period made important contributions to science and mathematics, developing new technologies and discoveries that continue to influence modern scientific thought. For example, the ancient Greeks developed the principles of geometry and the concept of the scientific method, while the ancient Chinese made important advances in astronomy and medicine. 5. Government and politics. The rise of complex societies during this period also saw the development of new forms of government and political organization. Today, many modern governments are based on the principles of democracy, which have their roots in the ancient Greek city-states. 6. Religion and philosophy. The religions and philosophical traditions that emerged during this period continue to influence modern spiritual and philosophical thought. For example, many modern ethical and moral systems can trace their origins back to the ideas of ancient philosophers such as Confucius, Plato, and Aristotle. Overall, the rise of civilization period was a crucial time in human history, laying the groundwork for many of the social, cultural, and technological advancements that we take for granted in modern society today.